My people of this country.
I think I screwed that intro up, but whatever. Let's try that again.
My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PPN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV. Lots of cool people. Tune in. Keep it locked.
I'm a white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms. Fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't obeyed. My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you...
Well, America, tonight we are going to walk into one of the darkest, most shameful chapters in our nation's history. A chapter most politicians refuse to read, most journalists refuse to study, and most Americans have never, ever been allowed to hear. The story of the USS Liberty. And the USS Liberty is not just a footnote. It's a wound. It's a wound carved into the flesh of our Navy, our own so-called allies, and then covered up by the very government sworn to defend those men. Imagine it. You're serving your country, flying the American flag in international waters, unarmed, clearly marked, identified, and then without warning, you're attacked. Torpedoes, napalm, rockets, not by an enemy, but by a nation we were told were our friend. And after surviving the unimaginable, the betrayal gets even worse. Instead of rescue, instead of retaliation, instead of truth, Washington chose silence. Washington chose politics. Washington chose someone else over its own men. The orders came down: do not assist the Liberty. And later, you are never to speak of what happened. That's not an accident, and it's not confusion. It's betrayal. And tonight, we honor the survivors who refused to stay silent. Men who lived through hell, only to be told that their suffering was inconvenient. Men who watched their shipmates die and had their story buried to protect political interests. One of those men is here with us tonight, Phil Tourney. He's a survivor of the USS Liberty. And Phil, I want to start off by welcoming you and letting you know we honor you, and we are done pretending that this did not happen. Welcome to the Patriots Prayer, Phil Tourney. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing well. Thank you, Eddie. And what you just spoke about is almost like fiction. You know, people have been on our backside saying that we're liars and that we're Jew haters and that we're Nazis and we're traitors for telling the truth about cold-blooded murder by the Zionist state, June 8, 1967. when our
You
country
know,
backstabbed us.
and the empathy that I feel makes the anger that you must feel just, burn in my chest. Just to think what I would have felt like signing up, putting on that uniform, serving my country, knowing what that meant, how proud it would be to get on board that ship and know you're playing your part and your country stabs you in the back. And I mean, there are no words, no words at all that I think that anybody could say to make that feel okay or all right whatsoever. But Phil, before anything else, let me ask you, what goes through your mind when you hear modern politicians call Israel our ally, knowing what they did to you and to your shipmates that day?
Eddie, that's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. The politicians in 1967 up to now are not beholding to the people of the United States of America. They're beholding to one government. That's why they got by with setting us up to be murdered by the Zionist state, LBJ, and every president after that has covered it up. We're alive to tell the truth, and nobody wants to talk to us. Congress, nobody. But people like you that believe in the truth and love America and Jesus Christ over tyranny and lies. We've been
geopolitics.
Oh, politics. They've all sold their souls.
Well, LBJ did more than cover it up. In fact, let's take a look at the statement that LBJ made real quick. And my eyes are terrible, so I'm going to look at it on the big screen. LBJ was contacted by McNamara on a Geist call. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he says, "I want that goddamn ship going to the bottom." This is a quote from our president. "No help, recall the wings. I don't give a damn if the ship sinks and all the Americans die on board." I mean, this is the president of the United States of America. And this is a statement that he made about the men and women under his charge, because they didn't want to embarrass an ally. But what goes through your head when you hear something like that? I know it's not the first time you've heard it.
No, it's nothing new, Eddie. It's nothing new. We've been getting that same old stuff from Congress, and it was a mistaken identity. Forget it. They paid reparations. They barely paid nothing. In fact, our government paid it. But that's all we've gotten from our Congress is, forget it. They say they've had 5 investigations, 5, and they're all liars. If you write Congress, be prepared to be lied to about the USS Liberty. For that matter, anything they ever say, if you take a congressperson, anybody in politics, and listen to them, they're all lying to you, no matter what it is, especially on Israel. They covered it up then, they're covering it up now, and they got blood on their hands. From LBJ to Trump, all of them got blood on their hands for hiding the truth about cold-blooded murder of their American citizens on the high seas. They set us up to be murdered, and we survived telling the truth, and they call us Nazis and Jew haters for telling the truth, serving our country. When I first put on the uniform of the United States Navy, I was the proudest man I could ever be. I did 2 tours of Vietnam on the USS Mauna Kea. I got aboard the Liberty and loved that ship and loved the crew. One of the best crews ever. We beat all odds from the IDF. For 2 solid hours, they tried to sink us. Rockets, cannons, machine guns, blowing up my friends, trying to murder us all. They dropped napalm on the ship. They did everything they could to murder us, but the ship did not sink. with a 40-foot by 40-foot torpedo hole in her by the hand of God. We stayed alive that day to tell the truth today, and the Spirit of God is in me right now. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I'll never, ever forget that I wasn't saved for this moment. Nobody should be allowed to get by with cold-blooded murder, not even Israel. And we're here to talk about it, and the Congress won't listen to us. But
And
you guys will. It's going to take us to save this country.
It's going to take the truth tellers. I talk an awful lot about the third box, and when people don't understand what that is all too often in the United States, you're either told you're right, you're left, you're white, you're black, you're red, you're blue, and they don't talk about the third choice. And the third choice is the truth. And sometimes the truth doesn't belong in either one of those other squares at all. Sometimes you're not just Republican or Democrat. Sometimes you're just a truth teller, and that makes you fall in different places at different times. And this is one of those times. And so let's go back. As a young man, you entered the Navy. What made you want to join the Navy?
Well, I wanted to join because I quit school in 7th grade, and I went to work for my dad. He was a plastering guy. And, he says, okay, I'll put you to work. And I did that until I turned 17. I quit school in the 7th grade, and that's the education I got until later. But that's what made me want to go in, to go to a better life and serve my country. As I said before, it was the greatest thing I ever did to put that uniform on, to serve our country. And I had no idea what our country could do to us, the liberty, and God knows how many others. Think about Vietnam,
Gulf of Tonkin.
Gulf of Tonkin, Gulf Wars. All of them fought for one purpose: the military and industrial complex, the bankers, and the greater good of Israel. And that's just the way it is.
So after you joined the Navy, what ship were you on when that began? Where were you stationed?
Well, I got stationed aboard the USS Mauna AE-22. It was an ammunition ship out of Port Chicago, California, right out of San Francisco.
But what was the experience like there?
I did 2 tours, Vietnam on her, and came back and got transferred to the Liberty. And that's where I met the greatest bunch of guys I've ever met in my life. Heroes, I'm telling you, Eddie, heroes that you can't believe. Everybody aboard that ship did what they could to keep each other alive. I mean,
and
it was bad.
My understanding,
the help never did come to us.
My understanding of the Liberty is that what were you told your assignment was aboard the Liberty? What were you guys doing exactly? You able to hear me okay? You able to hear me okay, Phil? Oh, very strange. Let me see here. If you can change your sound. Forgive us for our little technical difficulties. Can you hear me okay now? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Unmute your mic. Go down to your mic and unmute yourself. on the picture below, you accidentally muted.
Right, I got it.
There you go. So my question was, you're aboard the Liberty. What was your assignment? What were you guys told you were doing?
Well, our assignment was, we went up and down the Africa, the west coast of Africa. We go out for like 4 months and cruise up and down there, go to different ports, and become part of, the culture, really, because we went there a lot of times. And we go to the same ports, and then we go back out to sea and go down and collect all the information we could. I wasn't a spy. The other guys were. But that was our job, was to keep those guys anywhere they wanted to go, and that's what we did.
So you had half of your crew that were spies, or a certain portion, and then the rest of you guys were sailors. And my understanding is that you were told you were mapping the bottom of the ocean. Is that right?
That's what they told me when I first got aboard the ship.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, and I kind of believed it, because I was a dumb guy, and it's a spy ship, and they didn't talk about it, but
you figured it out.
Yeah, I figured it out, but how stupid could I have been?
So you get to hang out in very good weather. You're traveling up and down the coast. Great assignment. And then one day you guys get a call and you're heading out toward what was the 6-day war at that point.
We were in Abidjan, Africa. We just gotten there. Mm-hmm. It wasn't, probably 3 or 4 hours, and people were on the beach, going out getting some beer because we've been out to sea for quite a while, and seeing the sights. And all of a sudden we got emergency orders, get everybody back on board immediately, get them back on board. We didn't know what was going on, but they said, it's going to happen now. Get them back on board. If you have to leave anybody there, leave them there, but get that ship out to sea. And that's where we headed. We didn't know where we were going.
So you're headed one way, but my understanding is you see a bunch of ships heading the opposite way, but you're heading that way.
That's true.
And so your mind at that point is like, if they're all leaving and we're going, what the hell's going on here? Especially you're an unarmed vessel.
Yeah, we're unarmed. We stopped in Rota, Spain, and picked up some linguists. We picked up 3 Marines, which 2 of them were blown to bits, by the way, mm-hmm. and a couple linguists. These were civilians. One of them was Alan Blue. The other one escapes me, and Alan was also blown to bits during that attack. But
what surprises me the most, and it's just so honorable. It is this many years later, and I ask you about that, and you say these guys' names. That to me is just, and that is so honorable, because that you remember exactly what their names were. That should tell people how much you care about this situation, because there's several hundred people on board this ship. But here we are talking about 2 specific people that you just picked up, and you know exactly who they were.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons I do this, Eddie, is those 34 men that got killed that horrible day when our government abandoned us. They don't have a voice, but I do. And I speak for them to honor them and make history right, not the way it's been told. Those guys were slaughtered and murdered by the Zionist state with the help of our own government. We were set up. How can anybody? It hasn't stopped. No, it hasn't stopped. We're still getting set up.
Yeah, and much like what you just described is, and anytime someone brings it up, somebody wants to call you anti-Semitic or you hate the Jews, and make it clear that I do not Phil does not hate Jewish people. We're not talking about a race of people. We're talking about the geopolitical power that is the Israeli government. And it is no different than the government that played along with them, meaning the U.S. government at that time that allowed this to happen. They are equally, 100% equally at fault. One for covering up and one for the action that they committed. One for inaction, one for action. And so, you know, people really need to understand that. Sometimes the truth is just the truth. It has nothing to do with racial bias or anything like that. But in the United States, we are so pre-programmed at a very young age, especially those of us who are believers, through our churches, through our programming, through the media, to just automatically assume that anything you say bad about Israel, you must be anti-Semitic. And that is one of the worst, most foul lies ever told, because it makes it to where it's like you can tell certain truths, but not others. Be quiet about these. And I think we're finally coming into a time with people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and others where that's no longer the case. People are waking up. People are asking questions. Matter of fact, I have a video clip right here where a young kid, the younger generation is just picking up the gauntlet and running with it. And this is what I mean. Take a look at this.
Ms. Trump, I'd like to ask about your father's relationship with Israel. He's taken over $230 million from pro-Israel groups. During the summer against Iran, even though he advised against it, Israel still attacked Iran and the U.S. still bombed on behalf of Israel. Your father's frustrations with Netanyahu have been made clear when he cursed on national TV over the situation. Israel has not been a great ally to the U.S. all the way since 1960 when they bombed the USS Liberty. Israel is a nation where Christians are constantly under attack in both Gaza and the West Bank. We talk about America first and defending Christians, but how can we do this if we align ourselves with a nation that does not do that itself?
That kid couldn't have been no more than 23 years old to ask such a question directly to the Trumps. And it's a very long clip, which is why I didn't play it, but they go on to redirect and not answer the question directly about the USS Liberty and talk about how the danger is more from Iran and people that want to eventually get their hands on a nuclear weapon and how much dangerous it would be if we don't address that danger, and completely ignore the Israel question altogether. They're very good at that. A lot of them are. We see this today with Laura Loomer. We see it with Officer Tatum, Brandon Tatum. We see it with a lot of influencers, and it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing to have the alternative media paid off by a foreign country, sponsored by a foreign country, so that they will say a certain narrative or steer away from a certain narrative. And I see it all the time. And people that I had an immense amount of respect for that I don't anymore. And but I also see that the people, especially the younger generation, they're waking up. They're not playing the game.
I think the people like Lauren Boebert, she was my congressman for several years, and then she moved districts, but I wrote her a letter and talked to her aide about the USS Liberty and sent many letters certified. And her aide got on the phone with me and said, Congressman Boebert will never, ever, ever help the USS Liberty or go against Israel. We don't want to talk to you anymore. Period.
See, this is what I mean. These are people that I really had a lot of respect for, that I thought were fiery, that would go against the grain, that were mavericks, right? That is they give that appearance. And then when they're put in a moral dilemma, they choose the easy way out. They take the easy way out, and that is really, really sad to see that happen, because Lauren Boebert, Anna Paulina Luna, Nancy Grace, MTG, we're all, part of a breed. And MTG right now, obviously, she's fighting for the right thing, and she's trying to get that Epstein list out there. And as a result, she is catching hell right now from the Trump administration. And a lot of people are showing her support regardless. And I think that they see that that's one of those situations as well, that people don't give a damn about politics about. We're talking about little girls and some evil people, and people want that information out there as well. I want to show people a brief little clip here, Phil, that kind of explains what happened that day so that they get a better understanding.
I often talk about government schools and the deep state media rewriting history so that the American public doesn't understand where the true power lies. Because if you can identify that power, you will also be able to study and confront it. It's also no secret that history is written by the winners. Armed with that knowledge, I'd like you to examine a moment in history that, when written immediately after it happened in the Mockingbird media and for the decades that preceded, was a complete fabrication. Lies that would be regurgitated and retold in books and television programs over and over and over again. Lies written by the winners in an unprovoked armed conflict involving the United States and a country in the Middle East. Not Iraq, not Iran, or even Saudi Arabia, but an attack perpetrated by Israel, unprovoked, on an unarmed naval ship in international waters, in an attack that claimed the lives of 34 American citizens and wounded 171. The attack on the USS Liberty on June 8th, 1967. The USS Liberty was a naval intelligence ship monitoring the war brewing between Israel and Egypt. Surviving crew members who would be threatened into silence for decades now recall a clear sunny day with anger and confusion. At 10:30 a.m. that morning, an Israeli reconnaissance plane that had made visual contact and circled the vessel earlier in the day, along with several others beginning around 8 a.m., made visual contact again. The pilot circled so close that crew member Larry Weaver was able to wave and recalls the pilot waving back and smiling.
They were slowly lumbering over our ship, and we were waving at them, they were waving at us. And I felt that we were in great shape because I knew who we were. We had an American flag flying, the standard, and then we put up the holiday colors, which is a huge American flag. And it was a bright sunny day with the wind blowing, 5 or 10 knots, the flag was unfurled. You could see it for miles.
And despite the lies of both the Israelis and the Americans for the decades that followed, we now know that the Israelis had positively identified the USS Liberty as an American vessel, something that has been confirmed now with recordings of the pilot's communications.
So the idea that they didn't know you were a U.S. vessel, the idea that they didn't know who you were before firing upon you for more than 2 hours, we know that's a lie. We have recorded evidence. But they flew so close that Larry Weaver, if I got his name right, Larry Weaver waved at one of the pilots who waved back. And they had you guys already on, their board that you were where you were and you were who you were. And then my understanding is that shifts change, new people come in, and then kind of tell us what happens from there.
Yeah, but you talk about, let me kind of
Sure.
talk about Larry Weaver a little bit. Larry was a good man. He was probably one of the most seriously wounded aboard that ship. He was blown to bits, to be honest with you. He just passed away here too. May he rest in peace. And the other gentleman you talked about there, that was Lloyd Painter. He also witnessed the machine gunning of the life rafts, which was taken out of the Board of Inquiry. They never even discussed it. So the story of the USS Liberty has been one of cover-ups and deception and deceit on the American public. We survived that day by the grace of God to tell the truth now. And, nobody wants to listen to us. But America, if you listen to us, we're doing this for not just the memory of our crew, but for our country. Our country is being controlled and run by the Zionist state, and only American patriots can take it back. And I'm one of them. I want our country to be America, nobody else but America. No more foreign aid, no more nothing. America first. Let's take care of our own, not squander it on other people.
I think that is the sentiment right now. People are saying not just America first, but America only. I think that's going to be the message going forward. I think that is a unifying message. In fact, at this point, that we're seeing more and more Americans wake up to the fact that we are being controlled. We are being manipulated. When you have foreign interests that own most of the media in your country and control Hollywood, control the newspapers, control everything. And what Thomas Massey happens to make that statement that he's one of the only people in Congress that doesn't have an AIPAC babysitter. It says babysitter, right? So the other day, Laura Loomer comes back after her Israeli tour on the Syrian border, and she comes back and I don't think that America should give any more aid to Israel because this is the pervasive way. This is what people are yelling and screaming right now. We're tired of giving aid to other countries. We need this money for our own people, for our own country, for our crumbling infrastructure. No more aid for anybody. And then within a week, Benjamin Netanyahu echoes the sentiment. So, that's choreographed because the people are waking up to see that they're thinking just like you, what you're saying. And the approval rating for Israel had dipped even lower than 24%, which is where it was a few months ago. And so now they're putting out this message that kind of aligns with what people want is no more foreign aid for Israel, no more foreign aid for Ukraine, no more foreign aid for anybody. We're done. And so they come back aligning with that message so that it doesn't send mixed signals and they can try to stay in everyone's good graces. They're very good at propaganda. They're extremely good at propaganda. And that's what I believe this was. It's propaganda.
Well, Eddie, how do you cover up propaganda, on one side or the other when we got proof, not just about the Liberty, but the destruction in Gaza and the human life has been taken with our money, our taxes, our tax dollars. And look what they did to it. Yeah. They leveled it. How many?
It's a rubble.
It's evil. That's evil. And, like Candace Owens said, that is going to be evil land. You step on that and you're going to be cursed. And I believe that. It's the land of the unholy.
Yeah.
The only people that would be welcome there is the Palestinians, and that's it. And,
you're 100% right. You're 100% right. On October the 7th, what Hamas did was a travesty. It was. You can't get any more evil than that. But you don't get a free pass to go and do the same thing. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's wrong when it's done to you, it's still wrong when you do it to them. And if you're going after Hamas, if you want to take out every Hamas actor there, period, I don't care. Do it. Same with ISIS, same with Al Qaeda, same with any of those guys. But the videos that I'm seeing, like the one that was released of the Palestinian prisoner not long ago who was raped, let's just call it what it was. And then you seen the IDF soldier that was in the video come on, and it's on my timeline on X, and he doesn't refute what happened. He's on there. The only thing that he's mad about is that somebody put the video out. Not that he didn't do it, not that he's not guilty, not any of that. Just that someone put the video out. That's what he's angry about. I got hundreds of videos of Christians. One of the ones that broke my heart was this 67-year-old woman. She's walking, looks like she's got groceries or something in a basket she's pushing. And one of these guys, some Orthodox Jewish man, just throws a chair at her just for no reason. And you see these stories of them getting, you see it all over the internet. You get spit on, beat, kicked, hit with sticks just for being Christian. Just for being Christian. So when I hear someone come on and they talk about the Christian genocide in Nigeria and places like that, yeah, my heart goes out to any and all of my brothers and sisters who are Christian. But at the same time, while you're doing that, do not forget for a second how badly our brothers and sisters in Israel are treated by the Orthodox that are there. That is not a Christian friendly place. So they put on a show.
No, absolutely. What is I find astounding is the Zionist Christians, even in my own community, that believe that they're God's chosen and this is their plan, and they're all good people, but I'm not saying they're not good people that believe that. I'm just saying they've been brainwashed and into thinking that what Israel's doing in Gaza or anywhere else in the world is acceptable.
Yeah,
and it's not. They know it's not, and I think they're coming around too. I really do. I think some of them are.
I was one of them. If we could rewind a year, I was one of those guys. I was 100% sold this was God's plan, and who am I to question it? There's probably more than I know going on, and everything that I'm seeing on TV, it's all propaganda. So I can't believe anything that I'm looking at, even if I'm seeing it with my own two eyes. I can't believe it. I mean, I was just sold. I had, Ryan Matta on my show not too long ago, and Ryan is a fearless guy. He goes into some places that I wouldn't go to expose child sex trafficking. And one of the things that he said to me on that show was, it seems that no matter where I go, every time I investigate any one of these trafficking rings or whatever, it always leads back to the same place, Israel.
Absolutely. It always goes back to Israel, and I would have never believed it, because when I was in the Navy, in fact, our ship, Eddie, when we were in the Med in the war zone, we had Stars of David all posted all throughout the ship. We wanted Israel to kick their butts because they were our allies.
Exactly.
And so we felt very comfortable being there, that our greatest ally would never stab us in the back. But
of course,
our greatest ally stabbed in us back, and their greatest supporter, our own government, stabbed us in the back. And people are waking up and they're realizing that now, and by the grace of God, we're going to get through this and let people know exactly what they've done. We're alive, and they hate it. We're alive. I'll tell you that, Eddie. They wish we would have all died. They would have got what they wanted then, World War III.
That's exactly the thing. So the idea was that most people believe that if your ship would have sank, they would have blamed it on Egypt, and then that would have been the reason for America to enter the war. And that's what it was about. Let's talk about the betrayal from our own government while we're at it. So we have accounts where McNamara, after being told that American jets were en route to defend you, they then ordered them back with the words, "Tell the Sixth Fleet to recall the aircraft." And when questioned, the president says, I don't want to embarrass our allies. So you had help within 30 minutes of you. And a lot of lives could have been saved had they been allowed to continue to come and help you, but they were turned around by our own people. Is that a correct statement?
It is a correct statement, but I can add to it. The first call went out maybe about 10 or 12 minutes after the attack. Terry Haldebardier had hooked up a long wire because all of our antennas were shot up to heat-seeking missiles. We were incommunicado. We couldn't do anything. He hooked up an antenna. 12 minutes into the attack, Rockstar under attack by an unknown jet aircraft. Captain Tully off the Saratoga immediately sent jet aircraft to our aid. McNamara got on the line and said, return aircraft. Do not help Liberty. Do not help Liberty. Return to base. Then the America launched and the Saratoga launched again at the same time. And that's when Johnson got on the line and called them back. I will not embarrass my ally. So they left us out there to all die when help was on the way. And that's what they've been hiding all along. And how many other wonderful Americans have they done this to? We don't even know about it, Eddie.
I mean, it's countless. I mean, we spoke about the Gulf of Tonkin incident, and there's another one. But after that attack, you were ordered not to speak, threatened, silenced, So why do you believe that this cover-up continues after nearly 6 decades? Who do you think, in your mind, is still being protected?
Well, I wonder who. Let me think about that. I would say that protecting the people that rules over them, the Zionist state of Israel. Whatever Israel wants, Israel gets. In fact, Admiral Thomas Moore, he's a good friend of mine. He was a supporter of the Liberty. And he said that, I believe it was during the Yom Kippur War, one of the ambassador from Israel said, you're going to get this, and this for me. We need it now. He says, I can't do that without a approval of Congress. He says, don't worry about Congress. I'll take care of that. Just get me what I need. And he's talking to a four-star admiral. Mm-hmm. That's how powerful it was. And they got exactly what they wanted. So Israel controls our government. They control our military. They control our intelligence. They control everything. They know everything.
They brag about it.
Of course they brag about it.
I got audio of one of the higher ranking members in AIPAC on a hot microphone bragging about how they have more influence over our Congress and Senate than our president does. I'll try to bring it up here in a little bit, but for the American people that are listening right now, many of whom have never heard this story, what is the one truth that you want them to walk away with about the USS Liberty?
Well, that's a good question, and I'll answer it sincerely as I can. The gallant crew of the USS Liberty, against all odds, stayed afloat that horrible day. By the grace of God, and that's why I'm here right now, by the grace of God and the few men that are left that are still fighting. A lot of them are so sick, or they're, we're losing people fast. And, it's a shame, but we're going to live on their legacy. The people that started this organization, I was one of them. The Liberty veterans, I came in right after they got started, and I've been there ever since. Joe Metters was our first president, and now he's our historian, and a smart guy. Really nice guy. But the remaining crew, we have a USS Liberty Veterans Association. Our goal has been to tell the truth only, nothing but the truth, and the Congress will now not allow us to do it. They treat us like garbage. The letters we get back saying there's been investigation after investigation, they're all liars. I've got copies of them from Congress people, senators. It's already been investigated. Forget about it, because of a lying board of inquiry that took out all of our testimony and said it was a mistaken identity.
Mm-hmm.
If you can believe that, a mistaken identity. And
well, the radio transmissions actually shoot a big hole in that. They actually, as you heard it, I played the radio transmission just a few minutes ago, and they clearly state that it was Americana, that was an American vessel. And this was when they were doing friendly flyovers before they attacked, and your flag was waving and the hull was clearly marked. I mean, for those of you who don't know, this is a picture of the Liberty, and the hull, as you can see there, is clearly marked. In that video that I showed a little earlier, you would have seen that flag was waving very high and proud. So they knew exactly what they were doing. In fact, they shot down 2 of your flags prior to you guys draping a third one over the deck of the ship. Am I correct in that? Was it 2?
Absolutely. They shot down 2 flags. And these were brand new colors, Eddie. Brand new flags. We had 2 5x8s and 1 7x13. The first 5x8 they put up was ordered by James Ennis. He's the author of Assault on the Liberty. Make sure everybody knew who we were. It was a brand new flag. They got it up.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, they hoisted it up. As soon as we got it up when the attack started, it was immediately shot down. Another flag went up a little bit later with 2 signalmen, Joe Metters, and I forget Russell David, I believe was his name, put another one up, and they shot that down. And then we put up the holiday colors, 7x13, and they still couldn't see it. When the torpedo boats were out there, they said they saw no flag, and we got a 7x13 holiday colors on there. The lies they say, it's unbelievable. It's just nobody can believe it but Congress and the people that perpetrated it and the people hiding it. They believe it. They sweeping it under the rug, hoping we die, so our voices are shut up.
How many of you remain right now? How many of the crewmen from the Liberty are you still in contact with and still around?
Well, I'm in contact with the board of directors, and I'm also in contact with the crew. Whatever's left, there's probably, I don't know, maybe 50 of us still alive, and half of those can't do anything. They're sick, or they just don't want to do it. I mean, this has been a lot of years, and it's hard on them to go to a reunion, and it brings back too many bad memories. Still to be just forgotten. But I'd say it tops 50, and I'm not sure on that. It could be less. But that's all that's left of us. But we're going to keep on fighting. I'll tell you, I am. If I'm in a hospital bed, I'm having a microphone in front of me. I guarantee you I will.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, you wrote a book. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So Stay Afloat is the name of the book, and there you are on the cover. So tell us about the book.
Yeah, well, thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate it, Eddie. This came about when I first got involved with my podcast, and I was invited on Deep Shallow Dive with Ray, and I did his interview with him, and we became friends and had a lot of things in interest, especially the truth. So we've been, become good friends and working on the book and other things, the website and things like that, which will be out soon. But the book is going to be something that you're going to want to read. It's going to be spectacular. There's things in there you've never heard before or I've never talked about. It's kind of like I guess my life, a biography, along with how this trail has taken my life from day one to up to this moment. So it's going to be a good read. I'll guarantee you that.
Well, here's the thing. I think you have enough people who back you, who understand what it is you went through and want the truth done. I think that at some point you're going to see a group of people that are willing to put together something large and honor you guys. And I call on people like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and others to head up such a project, to be able to not just do a podcast with you guys, but to do something larger, to have a gathering, to have something so big that they can't just ignore it anymore. And that's what's necessary. I think you guys deserve to be honored. I think you guys deserve to know whether or not the government of this United States does anything or wants the truth told. I think that you guys need to know that the people who know what you did and who you did it for at the ground level do appreciate what you did. And we do honor you for your sacrifice, and we do remember. So even if they don't, never feel forgotten to the point where you think that we don't, because I have been talking about this issue since I was in my early 20s. In my early 20s, I knew about this. And I mean, Alex Jones was the guy who I first heard all this from, and then it caused me to dig a little deeper and learn a little more. And he was the catalyst for a lot of the things that I learned. And more often than not, he's right. They want to hate him. They can drag his name through the mud, but Alex Jones is right about most things. And he's way out in front of them.
He is, and there's so many now that are out in front of it to see the light. And what you mentioned about Candace and Tucker and all of Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes,
yeah. I mean, there's so many of them out there that are young and that believe, and they believe in the truth, and they put their words up, and they don't back down. They just don't back down. And that's the way the crew of the USS Liberty is, especially me. I will never back down from the truth. I owe it not just to my shipmates that were killed that day, but to America to understand if we go down, we're close to a nuclear war, a nuclear holocaust. Mm-hmm. Our ship not sinking could have saved millions of lives. And that's what they're hiding, because it was ready. They had SAC aircraft in the air ready to bomb Egypt even before our ship got attacked, Eddie.
Yeah.
That's what was going on. That's how crooked it was.
And I saw some of the pictures of the ship toward the end after the attacks when I watched the small film. It was like a reel-to-reel style film that was done the day of, and I saw the massive holes in the sides of the ship. So I was thinking to myself, how in the hell you guys stayed afloat is beyond me. And beyond that, I mean, you guys were airlifted and eventually taken off this ship. Did it end up sinking there? What ended up happening to the ship?
Well, what happened was they got on the 9th, the early morning of the 9th, on the horizon, we could see the USS America and the USS Davis and the USS Massey. And the Davis came alongside, and they put some damage controlmen aboard the ship to help us shore up the bulkheads that were they're opened up like balloons, ready to burst. And they did a wonderful job helping us out. And they took the wounded, they were flying the wounded off in helicopters, the most seriously wounded and the dead, to the USS America. And once all that was done, they got everybody off that needed to be off. There was a skeleton crew, and I was part of that crew.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you sailed it back?
I stayed with it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that part. So you stayed aboard. This adds in a completely new dynamic. So you're in this deck, and I'm not to be morbid, but obviously there were remnants and blood stains and bullet holes and just and you had to sail that, looking at this the entire way, all the way back.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the morning before the aircraft got there, the helicopters or anybody, the captain said, this is very early before they got there. He said, wash down the ship. I don't want people to see all this. So I was on a hose washing body parts off the main deck and off the forecastle. That's how bad it was. But the blood was so thick in the starboard gun mount, it was baked in. It's probably 1.5 to 2 inches thick of my friend's shipmate that I had just asked to go up there to fix a sound-powered phone. Skolak, David Skolak. He died
so
right there.
You asked the shipmate to go up to make a repair. And as he goes up to make this repair, he's at that place where you sent him, and he loses his life there.
Right. I just left that gun mount because we just got done with a general quarters drill. I'd left the gun mount because the drill was over and the phone wasn't working. It was my job to make sure it started working or get somebody to do it. The captain was up on the bridge, and you didn't lollygog around him. You did not stand around. You were either working or doing something else, but not standing around. So I went back to my duty station, and in the shipfitter shop, and the explosion happened. Everything, all hell broke loose, and those two men in that gun mount, Skolak and Thompson. Thompson was the third class gunner's mate. They were both blown to bits. They were missed, nothing but missed in body parts, little pieces of bone. That was all that's left of them, and I washed them over the side along with Rick and Eddie.
God. But then it gets, and then you come home, you're dealing with this. I don't know how, because the normal person, can't even comprehend this type of a mental challenge, of a spiritual or emotional challenge. But then you go back. You re-enlist, or what? Tell the rest of that story.
Yeah, well, let me kind of digress a little bit. Now, bringing the ship back, you got to remember we had 25 souls aboard that ship inside there in hot seawater, being blown around by debris and everything else in that salt water. And it took us 7 days to get to Malta. And the stench of your dead shipmates were in there. You couldn't even eat. The stench was so bad. You couldn't even eat. You would throw up. That's how bad it was. We got her in dock, and then, of course, we sailed her back. But in the meantime, when we were bringing her with those dead shipmates, that's when we were ordered never to say anything about it by Admiral Isaac Kidd in Ward Boston, or we'd end up in prison or worse, never to say a word about it, So that's how the cover-up started. Yeah, I did go back in the Navy in a couple of years, 71 or 72, I forget. And I got aboard the USS Maddox, DZ-731 for all ships I could ever got on. The one that was in the Tonkin Gulf that started the Tonkin Gulf War. And the shipmates aboard that told me it was all bullshit. It never happened. Not
So
like
you have some secondhand knowledge of what happened in the Gulf of Tonkin incident as well.
Yeah, a false flag to get us into Vietnam.
Tell us about it.
Well, that's what they told me, and that's what happened. You know, Johnson got his war. That's what he wanted. I believe he told his generals, and now you got your GG war. So go take care of it. And it was all for the military-industrial complex, the bankers, not for the brave men and women that died over. There's a lot of nurses that died over there, fighting for their country, trying to fight for other people's lives, and they were slaughtered, done. It's like aboard the USS Liberty, nobody cares.
Eisenhower warned us and apologized on his way out for the creation of the military-industrial complex. And he said, you know, he gave us a very stern warning that their power and reach could even be more so than our elected officials and the politicians. And it seems to be that very way right now. Because I can tell you, and I look at Kash Patel and I look at Bongino and Trump, and I had so much hope going into this election, and we fought hard, and I flew from one coast to another and from rally to rally, and I thought to myself, and I still know, I still realize I'm not exactly, you know, I'm not stupid. I realized that Kamala was still the worst of the two, no matter what. That's obvious. But the thing is that what I expected of him was I expected him to have more of a spine when it come to more of these things. When it came to the Epstein list, when it came to all of that, when Bongino sat there in front of those news cameras and said that he committed suicide, guys, trust me, I was like, oh, it's over. I don't know who got to them. I don't know what they said. I don't know what they found out once they got there. I don't know who threatened them. I don't know what is happening right now, but we're being lied to. And these guys whom we had all this trust in and just hopes in, that things were finally going to change and it was finally going to be different and we were going to take our country back. And here we are playing the same damn games, bombing Iran for Israel and sending hundreds of billions of dollars over to a country that only has 9 million people. It has 9 million people. It is the size of New Jersey. I don't think most people fathom that. Most people don't fathom that. We send more funding to a country the size of New Jersey than we do to New Jersey. It's just, it makes no sense to me. And Richard Nixon said it played no pivotal role in geopolitics. It's inconsequential to the picture as a whole. So why do you keep funding them? Oh, because we must is his answer. Just we must. And now I think that people are finally waking up. And what happens from here on in, I mean, I believe with all my heart, we are in prophetic times. We are in the last minutes of the last days. And I think those of us who are going to rise, and we're going to rise because we're telling the truth. This is why Candace Owens has the #1 podcast on YouTube right now. It's not because of all these people that think she's out there telling conspiracy theories and they don't like what she's saying and they don't like what Tucker's saying. Those are people who are paid by the Zionists to say that, to keep that narrative alive. But if you look at the ratings, you will see exactly where the people fall, what they think, feel, and believe, because those are the shows they're going to. These are the people they're listening to, and they're echoing the same sentiments that you've echoed on this show today. So people are behind you. They're listening to you. They are hearing what you're saying, and they're on your side.
Well, what a blessing. You know, I'm glad they are. And, you know, that means the world to me. And, you know, Candace, and she's been so good to me, you know, for bringing me on. And that's what really busted things wide open for me and the USS Liberty Veterans Association. which I am still president of the association, but I distance myself when I do my podcasts and things like that. I say things maybe they don't.
Yeah, I get it. I'm involved in some things that I keep separate too for the same reason.
But yeah, it's same deal. But all of them, and there's so many of them that I've been on with, and I God bless them all, and yours too. Thank you, and I really appreciate it. But the way the sentiment, the way the world is now, especially with Charlie Kirk when he got assassinated, the Gen Z people, Charlie made a little turnaround. He was all pro-Israel, and then
he said, "I can no longer be part of the pro-Israel cause."
Yeah,
out of his own mouth, turned down $150 million to on a Hampton Islands trip. He turned it down because he said he wasn't going to be morally blackmailed, and fought to keep Tucker Carlson on the TPUSA tour, and stayed very close friends, very much close friends with Candace Owens, and a lot of his Jewish donors pulled their money out. And look, one day after his assassination, all those donors are back at TPUSA.
Absolutely. And Candace being the number one podcaster in the world, what a feat that is. But you're right, because people love her for all the right reasons, the same way I love her. She's honest. She tells the truth. She doesn't care what toes she steps on. and she believes in her savior, as we all do. And she's on the right side of right. There's not many people. I don't think there's anybody alive that can run around a circle or a half circle with Candace Owens.
No.
They do, and try to do what a lot of these naysayers try to do. And he, just like with me, they call me a Nazi and Jew hater and a drunk, a barfly, a homosexual, everything they can call me, they call me.
Yeah. And that's when you won the argument, though.
I know it. I love it.
That's when they just ran out of ammo, because that racist remark usually comes out when they have nothing else that they can possibly say. And this is the same thing that the left does, right? The left, you'll typically start to bring up some truths that they don't want to hear. And the moment that you just hit a nerve, the first thing they do is yell racist. And yet the right complains about that. But the alt-right, the guys that are the Zionist types, that's the first thing they do when you start bringing up some truths about Israel, is they go, you can't label an entire race of people. I didn't say anything about an entire race of people. I am talking about Israel. I'm talking about, let's be more specific right now in this particular situation. I'm talking about Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm talking about the geopolitical head in Israel right now. That's who I'm speaking about. If I was talking about it back then at your time, I would be talking about the prime minister and the people under him at that time. I am not talking about the entire race of Jewish people at all. Zero. I'm talking about those people that are making these decisions, that are leading these PACs and paying off our politicians and controlling our media and brainwashing our kids and our churches and everything else. That's who I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. And just like with me and Liberty veterans, we're not, and we don't hate Jews. This is not a Jewish subject. It's a government subject.
It's a right or wrong situation.
Right.
It's not a right or left situation or anything like that. It's wrong.
Right. Like you were saying, from Levi Eskell, he's the one that was in cahoots to sink our ship. He was the prime minister in 1967. He was another crook, a bum, a liar, using the United States. And here we are with Netanyahu. I mean, he's the leader of a country that just genocide tens and tens and tens of thousands of little kids, men, women, and children, and then they snipe them for game.
Yeah,
they snipe them for games, and they laugh about it.
And they send the children up on the peaks of the mountains with binoculars for them to look through on school trips, and they cheer it on because they don't see them as human. Now, if you know, when this was all happening, when Palestine was there in 2005, when Israel left Palestine, and they left the hustling, bustling city with an infrastructure, and Hamas used the money that was funded to them by Qatar, that was given to Qatar by Israel, by Benjamin Netanyahu, sent them over $1 billion that they were then hand off to Hamas prior to October the 7th. And then when it became public that there actually was a stand down order on October the 7th, and they played the stand down order. They played it for everyone to hear. And the IDF soldiers sat there and gave testimony that they were told to stand down. It was Shabbat. Stand down. Don't go to work until, I believe it was after 6:30 p.m. I believe that's when the sun goes down or whatever. That's their thing. So they were told not to show up to work that day. That order came out at 5:30 in the morning. I believe it was about 9:30 a.m. when that music festival was attacked. And 6 hours they waited. In a country the size of New Jersey, it took 6 hours to get those people help. Make that make sense. That it doesn't. Not unless what the previous prime minister of Israel said was 100% true. The only way in which we can avoid a two-state solution is if we allow this to happen and then we cause this war. Because on the other side of this war, we will not have to be part of what would have been a two-state solution between Palestine and Israel. And I was just as harsh against the Palestinians for teaching their kids to hate Jewish children and hate Jews and giving them guns and, automatic weapons and being anti-Semitic. I was saying the same thing about them, and I still would. Listen, wrong is wrong, right is right. Genocide is wrong no matter who does it, period. And if we can get to a place where people can start to understand that, maybe we can start to fix things when you're not on this side or that side, or I'm not an anti-Semite, or I'm not a free Palestine person holding hands with Greta Thunberg, because I'm none of that. I'm very simply in the third square with my Lord and Savior, calling balls and strikes, wrongs and rights, goods and evils. And that's where we got to get to as a country and as a people. And if we can do that, then we can avoid being brainwashed. We can avoid being manipulated by the propaganda. And people have to wake up to that point.
That's exactly right. That's where it has to go. And, people are in the mindset now, and I really believe this, Eddie, that they see what's going on. They understand what's going on. And the alternative media, the social media, is the best thing that's ever happened to this country.
Sure is.
Very, very best thing. It's highlighted the USS Liberty. We were always, the on the bottom list. We would just gum on somebody's shoe until this started coming out, because letters and stuff like that to Congress does no good. To get a platform, we could never get a platform. But now we got a platform, and I got one too, and I'm glad to do it. I'm blessed by it. I pray for things like this to get the word out, and I'm lucky enough to have my own podcast, the Phil Tourney podcast. It's just new. I'm new to this stuff. But I'm getting better. But, I just want the truth to be told. And I get a lot of survivors that come on and tell their stories about how this has affected their lives.
I'd love to have a podcast with a few of you guys on all at once to get everybody in the same podcast. That would be something that would be very cool to get it from different perspectives, to hear different people's points of views. That would be something I'd be very interested in. And I'm sure people would love to see that.
Oh, I can get that taken care of, I'm sure.
Well, let's do it. Anything you want to say before we get out of here, Phil?
Well, I just want to say, thanks for inviting me. I do appreciate it. It's always an honor to come on so many different shows and tell my side of the story and what we've been through. But, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, and I want to thank, of course, my family and my sons and daughters, and grandkids and everything like that. And, I love America more than I love anything. But we got to break this ugly hold that we have with the Zionist state. They're going to kill us if we don't. They're going to destroy us or destroy the world.
Yeah, I think they're hell bent on world domination, and that's what I see. That's what I can surmise. That's my opinion, based on all the facts here, there, and everywhere. When you get this piece of the puzzle and that piece of the puzzle and this piece of the puzzle, and you back up and you take a look at it, it's the only thing that you can, the only conclusion that you can come to at some point is that they are hell bent on world domination.
Absolutely. And again, thank you, Eddie, for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Sir, thank you, guys. And thank you so much for joining us. As always, the silent majority, you do need to stop being silent and stand your ground. Evil will never retreat willingly. It must always be beaten back. We will see you again next time on the Patriots Prayer Podcast. Thank you, Phil, for joining us today. Have a great one, guys.
My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PPN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV. Lots of cool people. Tune in. Keep it locked.
Know where I stand. I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots, the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms. Fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't obeyed. My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flag.